Merry Christmas and welcome to the first installment of this Feast of Christmas video series through my Church as Folk website. My heart is full of love and gratitude for those who would join it with me in this special project. So as we reflect on this notion of feasting, spiritual feasting, there's a couple things that are alive in me right now that I want to share. First is this idea of spiritual feasting. Many of our, traditions or upbringings or what have you put in us this idea that austerity, fasting, denial is good and holy, and that feasting, pleasure, indulgence is bad and evil. We have this idea that the spiritual is good and the carnal is bad, or all of that stuff. And I want to say that is not true, and that is not biblical. The Gospel of John is organized around Jesus observing the feasts of his people. And he turns water into wine at a wedding. And the tradition is rich with observing and delighting in God's love, compassion, kindness. We're reminded that God called all of creation good, which includes you and me. And so I want to, in that spirit, invite you into the spiritual depth that you can experience through feasting, through pleasure. And this comes to us in the Christmas time when new life from God is born to us, given to us, but as a child that must be nourished and protected and raised and fostered and cared for. And so that is the second idea, which in many of our cultures we celebrate Christmas with giving gifts and receiving gifts. And again, both are holy, right? The giving and the receiving, and God's gift to us, and we receive that gift. We give to others. We give to others and back to God from the life that God gives to us. So our journey, the next 12 days, will have some reflections on giving and receiving and how both are holy. Today, being the first day of Christmas, many of us are reading, either at our homes or at worship services, the Christmas story, the birth story found in the Gospel of Luke. And as I was reading that this morning and reflecting, what was alive in me was the way that power, the way Jesus came to us in unlikely circumstances, right? The story begins talking about the emperor, talking about some other governor in Syria, and then how they forced these people to travel a long, arduous journey. Woman very advanced in pregnancy. There was no care for her body, no care for these people, no one to defend them, no one to say they don't have to go. They just had to go. They were kind of on the bottom. They were the powerless ones. And then how God's presence, God's gifts come to us in that weakness. And that new life is born out of that weakness, out of those low points, if you will. And so we celebrate a God who comes to us at our low points, and we enjoy and revel in that mercy and loving kindness this Christmas day. So I would like to make a toast with a traditional Christmas drink of my people, eggnog. I invite you to join with me in this toast with whatever you may have. And let us raise a glass to God's loving kindness, to mercy in our low points, and to joy and celebration. Let us observe the feast. Amen.